Welcome back, everybody. This is segment 3 to the Stephen Bobby Show. Today, we're going to be talking about Nancy Pelosi, okay, and her direction as to impeachment. And how,
I mean, that's what everyone's talking about today, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know, why aren't we impeaching? And a lot of folks are saying, no, we should impeach later. A lot of folks say, don't even try to impeach, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean? I mean, we have our own opinions, and ours are near the same, but they've changed, and they went through different
phases,
depending on what the climate is like and what comes forward, right? So with Nancy Pelosi being the leader of the Democratic Party, being the one who strategized all the different things and how to negotiate through the shutdown, which you kind of appreciated the way she handled stuff. And then through that, what is going on now? So let's look at the transitions or her evolution of impeachment.
Yep. So let's do the first video. Let's hit that first video. Yep.
Well, Speaker Pelosi has made clear now for months that people should take caution before they go down the pathway of impeachment, and now she's going in even further, saying in an interview with the Washington Post, quote, "I'm not for impeachment. This is news. I'm going to give you some news right now because I haven't said this to any press person before. But since you asked, I've been thinking about this, impeachment is so divisive to the country that unless there's something so compelling and overwhelming and bipartisan, I don't think we should go down that path because it divides the country and of the president. He's just not worth it."
So that was in March.
Right.
Okay. So, because remember, there's all kind of stuff going on right now. Right. It's kind of crazy. She's a Speaker of the House. And look, we're going to get into this other video with Nancy Pelosi. Look, I'm not an anti-Nancy Pelosi person. Okay, I'm not. I think that she is a very good strategist. She knows what she's doing. She's been in the trenches for a minute.
Yes,
right?
she has.
She knows how to play the game.
Yes.
It's her second speakership, right? This is the second time she's been Speaker of the House. So, and Nancy Pelosi has been around for a while. She knows this game. She knows how to play it. Okay? I realize that there's liberal wings and progressive wings of the party that don't like Nancy Pelosi for a lot of different reasons. Because she's not moving fast enough. She's not, so the younger generation's like, hey, it's that quick. Right? And Nancy Pelosi is a little bit different. Now, I've learned to like Nancy Pelosi. Remember, I wasn't a big fan. I told you that when we first, but I've learned to respect her in a lot of different ways, and her strategy kind of makes sense in different things. The impeachment, I'm baffled on. Okay, so
especially at that time, we were, really baffled. On exactly why aren't we just moving forward impeaching? Because when you move on emotions, when you want to decide doing what's right, which is to get him out of office, that's kind of where you want to go to. Look, in everything that a leader does, sometimes we can question what they're doing, and because we don't know exactly what they're going through or what evidence is put in front of them. Right, so people can give Donald Trump that same excuse. We don't know what he's faced with. We don't know what information is in front of him, and that's fine, right? And if he has a reason for doing a lot of the things that he's been doing, which I don't agree with, well, a lot of things I don't agree with him, then make that public. And a lot of those things you can make public. Every good leader in the past has been able to do it in such a way that it does not endanger the country. A good leader should be able to do that, and unfortunately, I feel that if there are good reasons for doing what he does, he's not good enough to give us good reason for it. Right?
His explanation.
And so, that leads to where we've gotten to today. And it is a media circus today, and here it goes. But Nancy Pelosi's tune has been progressing.
Has evolved.
Yeah. Has been.
So that was the one with the video I like how you use that. So that was in March.
Right.
So let's listen to her, because she was asked this question again, but this is in April. Okay, so this was last month, because we're in May now. So this was last month. Take a listen.
Don't tell anybody I told you this. Trump, I use his name, okay. Trump is goading us to impeach him. That's what he's doing. Every single day, he's just like taunting, because he knows that it would be very divisive in the country, but he doesn't really care. Just wants to solidify his base. That might have been too political, so criticize me for that. But that's what it is. So we can't impeach him for political reasons, and we can't not impeach him for political reasons. But we have to see where the facts take us.
She went from absolutely not saying, I'm not going to impeach, to we can't impeach for political reasons, But we can impeach for political reasons.
But basically in that one, it's like we have to impeach him.
Yeah.
We just have to find
Well,
a
at
reason.
least she sure is leaning that way.
She's saying basically, you know what, we can't impeach him for just political reasons, but we gotta get him out of there because of political reasons. You know what I mean? That's where it's at right now, right? So you can see in there that she's really leaning towards impeaching, right?
Yeah. And the fact, I just find it ironic when politicians say you can't do something for political reasons. Damn it, you're a damn politician. Everything you do is politics.
Well,
what?
No, there's a political portion of it, and then there's a legislative portion of it, and there's following the rule of law of it, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I mean, you know, just
but
because,
even the legislative part of it is that's being political,
right? But just because you don't, this is a whole different argument. What are you getting me on?
I'm sorry, man.
But basically, just because we disagree,
Yeah.
right, doesn't mean that we can't legislate together.
Yeah.
And so if we don't agree on something, it doesn't mean that I should kick you out of office. It means we should talk and negotiate and debate and come to a good solution.
And you know,
come to a solution.
And it's a good answer. She gave a good answer in that. Yeah. It's a good answer because at least it's like, okay, well, maybe she may impeach. So she said this. So now that was, we said, we gave you a video in March. We gave you a video in April. Right. Now we're going to give you one for this month, which is, we're filming this in May. So check this out. This is what she said 2 weeks ago or a week ago or whatever it was. Go ahead, play that.
Every single day, whether it's obstruction of having people come to the table with facts, ignoring subpoenas and the rest, every single day, the president is making a case. He's becoming self-impeachable in terms of some of the things that he is doing.
Let's pause there. That's an important point you just made. You think about 1974. The House Democrats had their articles of impeachment against President Nixon. Article 3 of the impeachment proceedings then was about obstruction of Congress, about abuse of power. Could there be an option for Democrats that you would consider of a narrow impeachment proceeding against President Trump about the issues you just raised, obstruction of Congress?
Let me just say that right now we have our committees doing the investigation. Since you mentioned 1974, at that time, Congress took months to build a case. They did investigation.
You know, I always have a problem when they bring up the Nixon Watergate scandal.
Why?
Because there were Republicans then that would not be tolerating what's going on.
Oh, absolutely, right.
Okay,
right.
there was a different era
right.
where they were like, okay, Nixon, no, man, you got all these, no, this ain't gonna work. And there were people that stood up. There were several Republican politicians that said this is enough.
Right.
Okay,
right.
This is not what's happening in this day and age. Nancy Pelosi is not in front of the same type of Republicans that she would have been in front of in 1974. Right. So they really need to stop this comparison. It's
you know, a lot of it. I understand that comparison. I mean, a lot of it is about getting reelected.
Yeah.
I mean, we're about to talk about that right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is today's day and age. It's about getting reelected. I mean, you come into an election season, you want to get reelected. It's like you got to watch your tongue, right? You got to be careful what you say and what you do because you know where your side is, right? So, you know, in a way, I've run for office before, and I can kind of understand that, right? But it's about keeping things in tune. So let's talk about it. The first thing that we're looking at is impeachment.
Right.
Impeachment now. Do we impeach now? What does that actually mean, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point.
Back in March, you know, it was like, hey, you know what? Impeach now. Right, we move forward, we get the evidence, and we do that because I've always said that you know Donald Trump has been good at hiding his tracks where he knows he's doing something wrong. He has other people to get arrested for it and go to jail for it, and we have seen that they've gone right. They've gone, and we've talked about some folks beforehand and bringing out new evidence. But you're not, you know, so you're not. It's going to be hard to catch him there. But you're going to catch him in places where he's not expecting you to, or you're going to catch him in places where he's being rash because he's not the smartest tool in the shed.
No, he's not.
And so the obstruction of justice methods and those things that he's breaking the law right in front of us. He's not following the law of the land right in front of us, and it's to hide what he's done before. Right? So he doesn't want anyone looking, so he's going to obstruct justice now. All these denials of subpoenas, instruction, you know, to other folks to deny the subpoenas, and you know all the different things that he's doing now. He has no respect for the law of the land. It's right in front of us. So if we impeach now, Donald Trump would also want us, you can tell, to impeach now. That's why he's doing all the goading,
He
right?
sure
That's
is making
why
it look that
he's
way.
doing all this, because he's like, hey, we got to give them the guts to impeach now. Because if any time, right now is a time where the impeachment goes through and then it hits the Senate to carry out that trial.
Yeah, they'll just.
And he is
Mitch McConnell.
his best chance of not being impeached is the current Senate not impeaching him. That is his best chance. So if he's going to face something, he'd rather face it with this Senate.
Yeah.
Not the House-controlled Senate next year.
With 26.
In 2020,
Yeah,
right?
because there's 26.
Yeah.
Republic, yeah.
20-something
26
seats going
Republicans.
up.
Yeah.
From the Republican side.
Yeah.
So they have a lot to protect. And it's very possible that the Senate is controlled by
Republicans
Democrats.
could very well lose the Senate.
Right.
In 2020.
Yes. And so his best chance is to go through it now and just have the Senate not really hear the case
Good
and
point.
free him.
Because if the Senate, it's a good point, because if the Senate gets, say, for example, the Senate does turn over to the Democrats, right? And Trump gets reelected, then he could be in trouble. You know what I mean? So you're right. It would make sense to do it now when Mitch McConnell is the Senate leader. Right? So yeah, it's a good point.
And so this is all about
Strategy.
getting reelected and strategy.
There's a strategy to
for
it.
folks and for the Republican Democratic Party to come ahead.
Trump and strategy in the same sentence doesn't seem right.
It's not his, it's somebody else's. And so for the Nancy Pelosi, why she wouldn't, for some folks, why she wouldn't want it now, in the case that, let's say if we are successful in impeaching him. If the evidence comes out and the Senate impeaches him, it looks very bad on the Republican Party, but then you're going to have somebody from the Republican Party rise up to the occasion.
That's it.
And become that savior of the Republican Party. And
they're going to need a savior.
Right, and they have a chance to win. And it may be somebody who a lot of these moderate Democrats will not hate.
Romney.
Right? And then what does that do? It means a lot of Democrats
Romney
don't show up to the polls. Then Democrats won't take Senate. And so there is a strategy there to say, hey, if we are successful in impeachment now, there you go. If we are unsuccessful, there we go. So for them, both of it is for re-election, it's bad on both sides. Now, if you move to the moral standpoint,
right?
If you really do not like Donald Trump and you really believe that he's committing all these crimes, then do you let him run again, or do you impeach him and get him out of office right away? And so for the ones who want to stand that moral high ground, you know what? You get rid of him now.
And you know, let's not forget second man in charge here. Let's not forget Pence.
Right.
You notice Pence is in the corner, real quiet.
Yeah, he's been quiet this whole time.
Oh, yeah, he's over there in the corner being real quiet.
He might be, hey, you guys doing all these things illegal. I'm the one who's going to, if you get caught, I'm your second one.
It's like obstruction. Never.
Well, obstruction never, because I didn't do anything.
That's what I'm saying.
He didn't do anything. Like, he did
Literally,
nothing.
he does nothing.
And so there's that one, right? Impeach now. Then the next thing would be what we have talked about is impeachment inquiry. Right?
An impeachment inquiry.
So going through and saying, hey, impeachment inquiry. And you saw Nancy Pelosi in the other video talk about it took months to set up a case in the Nixon thing, right? You don't like to bring up the Nixon stuff, but it takes months. It takes months and months of investigation. So it's possible that Nancy Pelosi might be waiting and timing an inquiry to do the investigation because she knows that information is going to come out, because who knows, she may have seen the report. We don't know, right? It's possible that she's seen the report already and knows what evidence is out there. And just wait, time it right, so that when the information comes out, it either forces Donald Trump to resign or he's impeached in such a fashion that the Republican Party will not have an ability to put someone into play, and then the Democrats just sweep.
So
that's a possibility.
Is there a possibility that Nancy Pelosi impeaches November 21st? When does election start? No, election is
2020.
2020,
so like
right?
November, I forgot the exact date.
November 20th.
The first week.
Yeah, so say November 21st. Right. Does she say, oh yeah, you know what? I have enough evidence.
Right.
Right?
And so there's a strategy there that, they probably are trying to follow. Now, look, you can't predict anything.
Yeah.
So that's what's wrong with that strategy.
Yeah, that's true.
That is what's wrong with that strategy. So the one strategy I think a lot of folks have with impeachment inquiry is that you do the inquiry, it doesn't really hurt anybody. because you're not actually impeaching, and you're investigating.
And from what I'm being told on an impeachment inquiry, you don't get 100% of it.
Right.
There's like 10 or whatever. William Barr, he still can hold some stuff back.
It's whatever you decide to go after, and what you get's what you get. But you are doing your best to get that information from like Deutsche Bank, from anybody.
Because the whole idea of an impeachment is to have, see, right now Congress has their hands tied because William Barr can tell them what they can and can't see in these committees. So you're right. Nancy Pelosi could very well be like, okay, everything that's out there right now, which is the bulk of information, right? We're going to go through all that information. We're going to go through it all. The redacted parts of it, we can do later. So if like you were saying, you made a good point. Say after the elections, she goes after the redacted parts, goes for an impeachment inquiry. She could go for an impeachment inquiry because an impeachment inquiry will still give you a lot of that redacted. They can point. You know what I mean?
Before, and just depending on the timing, if they have everything and when they release it. Again, that is a political reason. Right. True. So I mean that's all political. It's all political. Right? That's all political. There's no high ground or whatever. I mean, I guess the moral point would be, hey, check to see if Donald Trump really is guilty, right? I guess.
What are you leaning towards? What do you think?
In
those scenarios, in those three scenarios.
We have one more scenario we didn't talk about.
Oh, okay.
Right, the one we discussed, which is the reason why people don't want to impeach at all, because we haven't seen Nancy Pelosi actually say impeach.
That's true.
Right? We haven't seen folks just,
She used words like self-impeachment. She used everything else.
A lot of established folks haven't said anything because there is the theory that the Russia collusion and what is really behind it, and there's conspiracy theorists on both sides that say that there are Democrats and Republicans and other corporate people who are guilty. Right? And so if she pushes for impeachment, other people
even within the Democratic Party.
In the Democratic Party and the Republican Party and corporate folks are going to go to jail. And so they don't want to push that. Right? And we've talked about money in politics, right? Because if they push that, then they won't get reelected.
Right.
All that piece is there. It's about, getting people in trouble. Right? So that would be one reason why people don't want to impeach at all. Okay?
Yeah, how about just Trump being innocent?
And don't impeach because Trump is innocent. Very good. You shocked me, right?
I was trying to see what you would say. I was trying to see the damn. He was like, what?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. Is like you don't impeach now because the evidence, the black and white evidence, is not there for the absolute guilt. But I believe there's black and white evidence that points to his guilt.
Right.
Like it's right in front of you. And it's there, but
it's almost like an accessory to to something.
In a court of law, it might not stand, but it's like, come on, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, right?
It is.
And so that's the thing that's there. So out of all those three, I have been leaning from the beginning to do the impeachment inquiry. I mean, I want all the evidence there.
Prior to the election.
Now. I want it now.
Yeah, okay.
And I want to be able to look at those things. I would love to see the unredacted report. I would love to see the evidence that was verified to verify the report. All of those things matter because you put them in line so that there's no doubt of the guilt when you impeach them. That you don't have half of America saying that was a witch hunt. You don't have half of America saying these things.
Live television.
Because you have that hard evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, as hard as I think, the evidence already in the Mueller report, the bias that's in the Mueller report saying that they weren't going to find him guilty, right? The methods of research that they looked on obstruction of justice or ethical conduct, they did it so that they wouldn't find him guilty. It, shows that it's biased, but you can look at a lot of conservative folks, not just his base, but people who are moderate on both sides saying, okay, it's just a witch hunt still. It still doesn't prove anything. The country will be too divided if you just go based off of those things. So that hard evidence that can switch their minds, which will be the evidence that switches Senate's mind to impeach him. If we have that, you do it now. Right? That's when you do it, so then we can get back to ground zero and address the real problems that exist today.
Yeah, so, I think with the Mueller report, the big thing here is there's no Trump over there with a gun to somebody's head. You know what I mean? There's no, there's a trail of evidence that requires a lot of someone to sit down and look at the 400 pages and go, okay, I see it here. But no, who's going to do that? Who has time to do that? Who's going to? Do you understand?
Right.
People like me and you we would sit down and we would read. I mean, I didn't read the whole thing, but I read like 200 pages of it already. You know, I'm reading like 50 pages a week.
Well, it's kind of hard when you can't see the evidence,
Yes.
too, right? On certain areas, right?
Yeah, some of them you could just skip it. Okay, I can't. Yeah, they're all redacted. You know what I mean? Right. So I get it. So, well, I mean, that's where we're at.
Right. Impeach, don't impeach. What is your opinion? Let us know where you think it stands. Should there be a moral high ground? Like, who cares? Run through with it. Is there a strategy? Is a strategy so that Democrats take the House and Senate in 2020 and the presidency? What is it? Because people do say that he's the golden ticket to getting a Democratic president because that'll bring out more Democratic voters.
Oh, did you bring that up? What? Did you bring that strategy up?
That was it.
Because you were discussing this off camera, where you were saying that what you just said.
A lot of people think it's the golden ticket. That Donald Trump is there. We've talked about this and beat it to a death.
Go ahead, beat it one more time.
But a lot of people believe that more Democrats are going to show up to the polls this year if Donald Trump is still in office.
Donald Trump gave us Congress.
Right.
Donald Trump gave us Congress.
And a lot of people say he's going to give us the Senate. Right? He didn't. They gave us the House. He's going to give us the Senate, and because so many people are going to show up in many different areas that fell off his base, there won't be a Republican to challenge him that people will like. That the Democratic nominee will be the person that gets in, and that's what they're saying. He's the only thing that's going to unify us. Right? It didn't work last time because people didn't believe he was going to do what people accused him that he would do, but now you've seen it.
Yep.
He did what he said he was going to do. He's trying to do what he said he was going to do. And that is a danger to our country. And is it worth it to wait? Let us know. Thank you for tuning in to the Steve and Bobby Show. Here we are at Mad Talk TV Studios. We thank everyone for doing it. Please share, comment, like. We'll talk to you guys next time.